Welcome back to 504 Road Trips. In today's video, we continue north on US Highway 1, beginning at Florida mile 324.7, as this arterial hugs the western shore of the Indian River Lagoon. Almost immediately, we cross into the city limits of Palm Bay, and US-1 once again picks up the Dixie Highway name. Palm Bay is Brevard County's largest city, with a population of 119,760 at the 2020 census, and recent estimates place it even higher. Most of the cross streets we see peel off to the west toward neighborhoods, small strip centers, and local side roads, while to our right there is only a narrow strip of land before the Indian River Lagoon, which despite the name is actually part of a long, shallow estuary rather than a true river. Away from the highway are outdoor spots like Turkey Creek Sanctuary and the Grapefruit Trail, keeping this stretch of the Space Coast surprisingly green. The Dixie Highway name recalls the early 1900s auto trail that linked the Great Lakes to Miami, and today Palm Bay builds on that legacy with events such as the Palm Bay Fair, big Independence Day celebrations, and holiday light parades that draw families from around the region. US-1 crosses University Boulevard as we enter the city of Melbourne, where the road takes on the South Harbour City Boulevard name. Melbourne is known as the Harbour City, with about 84,700 residents as of the 2020 census and a growing population in recent estimates. Here, the highway shifts a little away from the shoreline, so for short stretches we see blocks of homes and businesses on both sides of the road, with cross streets and driveways feeding in from the west and the east before the land narrows again closer to the river. University Boulevard leads west toward the Florida Institute of Technology campus, while just off to the east, side streets end at small riverfront parks and docks along the Indian River Lagoon. Melbourne blends that Space Coast economy with plenty of events, from India Fest and the long-running Melbourne Arts Festival at Wickham Park to fall Oktoberfest celebrations that bring visitors from across Brevard County, and it is also the birthplace of rock singer Jim Morrison of The Doors. Downtown Melbourne gathers around our next major junction, where we crossed East Strawbridge Avenue, signed here as US 192 and State Road 500. To the right, the Melbourne Causeway carries US 192 across the Indian River Lagoon to Indialantic and the Atlantic beaches. If you turned left instead and followed US 192 west, you would head through West Melbourne to an interchange with Interstate 95, then across Osceola County through St. Cloud and Kissimmee, where it meets its parent route US 92, before finally reaching US 27 at Four Corners in the heart of the Orlando area tourist strip. That corridor is packed with hotels, attractions, and shopping aimed at visitors heading to Walt Disney World and other theme parks, which all lie within about 50 miles of this intersection. North of downtown, Harbor City Boulevard stays 6 lanes wide as we roll past a mix of older motels, small shopping centers, and pockets of riverfront development. The Indian River Lagoon is just off to our right again, and this part of US-1 is signed as part of the Indian River Lagoon Scenic Highway. Eventually, we reach another key east-west route, State Road 518, which crosses here as Eau Gallie Boulevard. From this junction, State Road 518 runs west to Interstate 95, then east through the historic Eau Gallie Arts District and out over the Eau Gallie Causeway to meet State Road A1A in the beaches in Indian Harbor Beach. The Eau Gallie name comes from a former town that merged into Melbourne in 1969 and from a French phrase meaning rocky water, a nod to the coquina rock outcrops along the shore of the lagoon. At the north city limits of Melbourne, where US-1 carries us into the small town of Palm Shores along the Indian River Lagoon Scenic Highway, we conclude today's video at mile 337.2. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment below, share and follow us on social media, and join us for our next 504 road trip.